Hey folks, welcome to my garage. Yes, it's dark down here and it's junky, but I have a pretty cool story for you today. Take a look behind me. That's my Nissan LEAF electric vehicle. And I have found yet another reason to love my Nissan LEAF. Not only because it's electric, but because of what it can do that it wasn't even built to do. But wow, with a little bit of ingenuity, it's amazing what you can accomplish. So check this out. Hey guys, so Hurricane Florence is passing through my area right now, and I wanted to be ready for anything. So in preparation for being without power for hours to days, or even worse, maybe even weeks, I decided to do some research into using my Nissan LEAF as a power station to power essential electronics. Let me show you how I did that. But take a look. This is my Nissan LEAF, and you may or may not know this, the Nissan LEAF is a fully electric vehicle. And under the hood, I have attached to the battery a Krieger 1500 watt inverter. And the inverter is plugged into the battery using the cables that came with it. It has a large fuse, just in case, and two big hefty battery cables. I have bolted it directly to the battery using the battery's terminals here. No modifications needed at all. And then plugged an extension cord into one of the outlets. Now we're going to take a walk through the garage. We'll follow the cord. And over here, we're plugged in to this freezer. This is our deep freezer where we keep essentials. So if the power goes out, we will have food that we can keep cold for extended periods of time. Currently, the freezer is drawing 227 watts. And so that leaves, 1,300 or so watts available if we needed them. Now, the key here is you can't just plug it into the battery and expect the battery to run everything. When I say battery, I mean the little 12-volt battery that the car needs to keep systems alive when you turn it off and to run accessories and such. There's a few things you have to do to make this work. Okay, so all you really have to do is after you hook up the inverter and before you turn it on and plug in your appliances, you need to turn on the car and make sure all the accessories are off, the headlights are off, all of that. The air conditioning system is off. And once the car is on, it will be able to determine that there's power going out of the 12-volt battery, and it will then turn on its inverter and pull power from the battery pack, the traction battery, sending that to the 12-volt battery and keeping it charged while it is being drained by the inverter powering whatever you're powering. So to test out the system, I plugged in the freezer and I let it run for an hour, and here are my results. When I plugged in the freezer, I had 13.3 kilowatt hours remaining in the battery, and I was drawing 200 to 400 watts during that entire time. And at the end of the 1 hour test, I had, I lost it, where'd it go? 12.5 kilowatt hours remaining in the battery. So I used around 700 watts of power in 1 hour. And so at that rate, my battery's old. It holds about 13.5 kilowatt hours of power now. So I can go, a couple of days maybe. I haven't done the actual math, as you can tell. But this is a great option if your power is out and you need to power something like your refrigerator, your freezer, charge up your laptop, charge up your cell phones. I also tested this configuration with my mother-in-law's oxygen concentrator. Now this is a device that concentrates oxygen out of the air and then sends it to her so she can continue to exist. And it works perfectly fine. So I'll know that it will be able to supply her with energy and oxygen as well as run our refrigerator if we need that option. But I do see a couple of things here I can do to make this system a little better. So for instance, instead of having to bolt it on every time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these. So what this does is it's a two-part plug. And you can see it's just big connectors there, and you just plug it in essentially, and then you can unplug it when you're not using the device. So what I'm going to do is wire this in, wire one leg of it in, or one plug into the battery, probably about like this, and then have the other one wired onto the inverter. And then when I need it, I can just plug it in and I'm good to go. So for less than $200, I have a home power system for emergencies, and yeah, what a great idea, right? Now, things you would want to watch out for, of course, is overtaxing the system. That could possibly damage the Nissan Leaf's inverter and electronics. So you probably would not want to go over 1,000 watts. Based on other things I've read and the research I've done, 1,000 watts is probably peak. So you're going to probably be able to run one refrigerator and one other heavy load device, and maybe a few small things, and you may need to stagger it. So run your refrigerator for a while and then run another few small loads. But if you have something like my mother-in-law's oxygen machine, you're going to need to, that you need to run all the time. You're going to have to be careful, because that thing draws around 400 to 500 watts. So yeah, that's getting close to the max, and you'll just need to be careful. But if you do it right, this could be a great option for keeping you going during disasters and power outages. I almost forgot to mention another just amazing thing about this setup. Okay, so because the Nissan Leaf is a fully electric vehicle, it does not have exhaust. So you can plug one of these systems in your garage with the door closed, and you're not going to run the risk of asphyxiating yourself on carbon monoxide. Now, one thing, of course, you will want to be aware of is your battery levels. Once your battery starts to get low, you'll need to go downtown somewhere and find yourself a charging station, and fill up on electrons, like I'm going to do now. And we're charging. All right. So there you have it.